All right, so let's jump straight into this week's top 5 segment. So we're going to be doing the top 5 places that you've visited or lived. So we all have traveled quite a bit. You guys are interesting because you guys have lived in the same general area that you grew up in
Yes.
for all of your life, which is wild. I cannot imagine what that must feel like. I can imagine being able to run into people you potentially went to like elementary school with. It's got to
Yeah.
be crazy.
Happens a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Makes us small.
yeah, but it's not anything like, oh, I don't want to ever see you again. I would hope. No, it's just like, oh, cool. How you been? You're
Yeah,
still
yeah. I
around.
mean, just the
Like,
concept of it though,
yeah.
like is wild to me because I've never
Never
I've
bumped into
moved
anyone?
around so much in my life.
Okay.
But anyway, that's not what the topic is. The topic is top 5 places that you've visited or lived. So I guess Mesa could be on there for you guys. But let's go to Luis first. Actually, let's switch it up a little bit. All right, from 5 to 1, Luis,
From 5 to 1.
places you visited or lived.
Did we do 5 to 1 last time too?
We did
Yeah.
5 to 1 last
Okay.
time too.
Well, I wrote these wrong.
Just read it
Oh
backwards.
my goodness. All right. 5 to 1. I'm gonna start off with El Paso, Cheyenne, Dallas.
Time out. Let's get states on these.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Dallas, Texas, New York, and San Diego, California.
Okay.
San Diego's your number 1?
San Diego's my number 1.
Oh, wow.
All right, so we got 2
do you
cities
mean,
in
oh,
Texas on there.
Yeah, a lot of Texas.
Right? That's scary.
That is.
Um,
You don't strike me as a Texas boy.
And I'm not. But these I mean the cities are special.
What about El Paso? I've known a few people that have held El Paso near and dear to their heart. What is it about that city that is so special?
The community.
Okay.
So I've been to El Paso 3 times. 3 times because I drove through once. But every time I've been to El Paso, it's just everyone's so friendly. It's a diverse culture and it's growing. It sucks that it's in a dust bowl because that part for me is not fun. I like to be clean and I don't like having to shower multiple times a day, whether it's humid or dusty or dirt, whatever.
Gotcha.
But just the first time I was there for a surprise birthday party for a friend's grandmother, and we weren't supposed to be anywhere near where they would be. No one knew that we were going to be there because we were going to be performing, and I was like, well, we got free time. I'm gonna go to the mall. Went to the mall. Everyone was super friendly, engaged again. And then I walked back to the hotel room, and as I'm walking back, I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna stop by a grocery store. Welcoming, and they change on language. Like a lot of the little pockets in El Paso are bilingual, at least. So you see people just mixing up the language and starting off, in English and then going to Spanish. And then if you're in the side where you have the Asian culture, you'll hear people just switching languages, which is really unique. You don't normally see that in bigger cities or where you have the melting pots, right? So I thought that was very, very cool about El Paso and the community around there. Friendliest little town I've seen.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And Dallas.
So Dallas is kind of similar. It's got its own pockets, but it's I like it more than Phoenix, just because there's seasons.
Well, what was your business in Dallas? What was the reason for you going there?
Dallas, I was visiting that same friend. He moved there for work, and so he's a teacher in Dallas, but he's also involved with the sports team there. I don't know if I can say the name, but well, are they going to call me out? No, they're not. So he got involved with the Dallas Cowboys and became a flag runner, and I went 2 times for a show. To play mariachi music. So we did the Hispanic Heritage Month. We did it front stage, and then we did in the Players Lounge playing for a little bit. So very, very cool experience. We got to tour, and then I was also there for his wedding there, and again we did another tour of Dallas. We went to downtown, went out for the night, and you really just get so many ecosystems in there. If you want to go to nature, you want to like feel the seasons, you have that. But if you want a night out and be engaged and socialize, you do that too. I know that there's a lot of traffic getting into and out of Dallas, but it's not as bad as some other cities. And again, like it's so vibrant. You can do so much.
I've heard, because I haven't met or associated with a lot of people who have who've lived in Texas or really in the Dallas area. But the one person that I did told me that Dallas was not fun, but Fort Worth is really fun, and Fort Worth is super close to Dallas, I guess. Mm-hmm. So they were saying they compared it a lot to like Phoenix. Like there's not a lot. It's a big city, but there's not a lot to do. But they were saying like Fort Worth is really fun. Austin is the only place in Texas that I could ever see myself personally living because of the art scene that's in Austin. But I've heard good things about Houston. But Dallas isn't one that you hear very often, so that's interesting.
Yeah, well, and so like when you say that, like it's Dallas Fort Worth area, that's kind of what I was including.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and kind of like LA, right? Like you go to little sub pockets of LA, but LA is central.
Fair
location.
Enough.
So,
Fair enough. All right, and then like Matt said, what was your number 2?
New York.
Okay, but before we go there, I gotta hit this Cheyenne, Wyoming thing.
Wyoming.
I know why you were there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
That's probably gonna throw our listeners off. Like what?
Cheyenne, Wyoming. And the population isn't as low as like some other places I've been to, because I've been to Artesia, New Mexico, which is like population of 80,000 people.
Okay.
Half of them work there and half of them are in the military base, and that's it.
Gotcha.
So, but Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it's scary too, but I, as a town and just the town, I fell in love with it. So, I had the opportunity, and I say opportunity, like, one of my bosses, reached out and had me go and cover a building there. Unfortunately, there were some bad things that happened at that building. The general manager and part of his leadership team were let go.
I want to pause really quick. I hate to interrupt you, but I just know that we've talked about
my job.
We talked about your job. We talked about you went on a cruise for work. So earlier this episode, you talked about something. So just you don't have to be specific, but what do you do?
My title is general manager for a movie theater company.
There we go. Okay. Just to give you guys some context out there, you guys are probably like, "What does this guy do?"
I wanted to keep it as mysterious as I could for as long as I could, but no, general manager for a movie theater company.
Okay.
And so the theater there, they had fired the GM, right? And they were looking for volunteers, and I got volunteered to go, and I thought I was going to be there for a month, and I ended up staying there for 3 months, which is why last episode I said I missed my niece's birthday. She was born and I was in Cheyenne. Sad about it, but it was one of those things, life. But in that town, I got put into like this hotel room that was like all the way across town. It is a small town, like you can drive around it in like 30 minutes, I think. But downtown and the areas of it is just, it's so historical, and you appreciate it for what it is. And it's growing. It's one of those places that like people go to like get away, just live a smooth, calm life. Everything's so chill that you can reflect on a lot of things. So while I was there, like my most of my time was like I was working 10-12 hour shifts, right? And then on the one day off that I'd schedule myself, I'd go and I'd explore downtown. And you can like really see the hardworking people there. Like, they want to be there. They love what they're doing. There was a Greek restaurant right next to the theater, and everyone knew the restaurant. Everyone knew the owner by name. They were friendly. And they would like literally drive an hour, 2 hours from like the closest town in to go and eat that food, and they knew that they were there because they'd been there for 30 plus years. It's just one of those small towns that like they're welcome to growing and they're learning, but it still feels like a calm place to be.
Yeah, those small town vibes for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Which is in complete juxtaposition to your
To me, yeah,
top
yeah.
two,
Yeah,
New
and
York
so-
and San Diego.
Well, and part of the reason why like I fell in love with it, and I so the interim position that I was in, the director of the region was like, it would be, at the time I was 28.
6 years ago?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Okay.
And at the time he's like it would be very disrespectful for where you're at and the ambition that you're showing for me to offer you this position. But if there were anything that I would, you'd be my first choice. And I'm like, if I were like 5 years younger or 10, 20 years older, I'd say yes. Like, it would be a great starting point in my career, but I've already been, through part of it. And this would be like an incredible town to like retire and just, get to enjoy the scenery, enjoy a little bit of it, go at your own pace. But that wasn't my pace. Like, my pace at the time was, let's go, I'm hungry. So I've gotten the chance to go back to Cheyenne. My family, like I said, we're very close. We like to take trips. We took a family road trip up to Mount Rushmore and stopped in Cheyenne on the way there. I'm getting emotional over this. But it was a long time to be far away from my family. So I took them around and showed them everything. And they were like, wow, it actually is beautiful over here. So, I love Cheyenne and it's always going to be in my heart. And who knows, maybe, 60-year-old, 70-year-old Luis ends up retiring there.
Maybe.
Although we lost that theater, so no.
Oh, damn.
And
right.
then top two.
Yeah, top two.
I mean, I'm guessing number 2 might be your top 1 just from knowing you, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
New York. A lot of it has to be just, again, ambition. Everything is going. And everyone is just engaged and living in the moment. And yeah, they're running around and they're hardworking, but they're there, they're present. And you can kind of escape to the little subsections that are just communities. It's a melting pot. It really is a melting pot, and you can experience pretty much anything there, which is incredible. You can't say that about a lot of places yet.
Fair enough. And then number 1, San Diego. It means a whale's vagina.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about it last week, right? And it's on the coast, similar to that. Like, the food there is amazing. Anywhere you go, there's a lot of activities. Balboa Park is gorgeous if you just want to walk around. That and so I play Pokemon Go. It's one of the hobbies that I haven't had a chance to talk about, but there's so many little places to go to play and be engaged on screen, off screen. And the bar, the downtown scene is really, really, it's fun. It's for everyone too. When I was down there by myself, there were so many different diverse groups going and just having fun. So I could see myself when I'm not working, going to the beach or going downtown or driving, close by. But yeah,
Nice.
it's expensive though.
That it is. It's California, so that goes without saying. But no, solid list. Lots of diversity there. Lots of, you got some small town vibes. You got some big cities in there. You got some mid-range places. So yeah, good list there.
I can tell he really likes his small communities.
Yeah. I'm
Really
all about
appreciate
community and growing. So
Yeah,
anywhere you can find that is, I think, a great place to live.
awesome. All right, I'll go next there. So I'm gonna go 5 to 1. So top 5 places that I've lived or visited. Number 5, I'm gonna go with Bloomington, Indiana. Number 4 is gonna be San Diego. Number 3 is gonna be San Francisco. Number 2 is going to be New York, and number 1 is gonna be New Orleans.
What states?
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, San Diego, California, San Francisco, California, New Orleans, Louisiana, New York, New York, New Orleans, Louisiana. Yeah, not the. I feel like those are all big enough to know, other than
Right.
Cheyenne and El Paso. But hey, I could see what you did there.
I think my favorite thing is that like at least your top 4 are all trips that we've all made as friends at some point.
Yeah, we have.
I haven't been in New York.
No, but our friend group has. They went to visit you when you lived in New York.
Yeah, but you motherfuckers didn't come.
Yeah, I did not. I worked I was a poor boy who made terrible financial decisions. But again, though, it's like all these great places that you share memories with friends. But what makes
That's true.
So what makes is
So
you said Indiana?
Bloomington, Indiana was my number
Is that
5.
the home base? Is that where you were born?
No. I was born in Detroit, Michigan. Come
on. We talked about this.
I don't know, but I'm asking questions because we have new listeners who might want to know a little bit more about the main guy. Oh my God!
Born in Detroit. I moved to Indiana when I was 13, so back in 2003. Lived there for 8 years until 2021. That's when I moved here. So big chunk of my life, my formative years were in Bloomington. Yeah, so obviously 13 to 21, that's,
Yeah.
that's where you become the person that you are pretty much, right?
I would say 25, but yeah, 13, 21, that's a big
so
chunk.
Formative years for sure. So a lot of good to great memories from that city. Lots of, bad to traumatic memories from that city. But again, my whole adolescent life was sort of in that city. Like I made lifelong friends in that city. I became the person who I am in that city. That city will always feel like home to me. As much as I love Detroit, like I moved out of Detroit when I was 13. So most of what I remember from that is, the family that I had when I was there, moments more than actual memories. Indiana, Bloomington specifically is where I became me, so that's where that city shaped me. Again, like it's just the place that feels most like home or felt most like home. I would probably say Arizona feels more like home now than any other place I've been, just because I've been here for so long and my family is here, my wife and my daughter. Obviously the closest friendships I have are here. So, Bloomington is definitely will always hold a special place in my heart. And again, it's got that familiar feel to it. I think a reason I don't have an Arizona city on that list is because there's not a specific city that feels the way Bloomington feels. Like I couldn't pick like Gilbert over Mesa. I couldn't pick Mesa over Tempe. Like there are moments in each of these little suburbs that I've lived out here that feel nice, but I think Bloomington is just overall the main. Yeah, it feels more like home than any singular city in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. San Diego is my number 4. I love San Diego. First time I ever saw the ocean was in San Diego, and that changed my life. Seeing the ocean for the first time, and as cliche and maybe cheesy as that sounds, I think the first time you witness something like that is truly incredible, and to have that experience as an adult was wild.
Was it when we went together, or did you go before?
I think the first time I went to San Diego was when we all went together. Yeah, okay. I've been back several times since then, but I think that was the first time. Incredible moments there. Like Matt said, a lot of that is because of the people that I went to, the people that I visited that city with. Those moments will always be, special parts of my life. It's a great city. I agree with you, Luis. It's got it's expensive, but it has that. You get sort of everything with it. You can get the big city vibes. You can get the small town vibes from it. Lots of local places, local restaurants that are great. Lots of different beaches, obviously, that you can go to. The beach in general is just really is one of my favorite places to be. Which, as a city boy, I never thought I would have that that thought process. Yeah, but I do love the ocean. I would love to have if I ever win that $500 million, whatever we were talking about last week, like just being able to wake up to the ocean every day would be an incredible experience, because it just represents so much possibility, I think. So, that's why that's my number 4. Frisco. I know San Franciscoans hate it when people call that, but I love that city. That could arguably be my number one. Just an incredible city. We visited there together.
Multiple
we took
times.
a road trip up.
Yeah, and it was just super nice. The weather was perfect. I loved the architecture. Again,
Okay.
I know that kind of sounds cheesy, but I love so much about it. And it just it felt comfortable being there, even though we were only there for a few days. Like I felt like, oh man, I could see myself living here again if I was a billionaire. Because talk about expensive, San
Those
Francisco.
houses, yeah.
You might only be able to stay there for a year with that amount of money.
Yeah, no, great city though. Again, but obviously my memories of hanging out with you guys there was a big draw to have that on my list as well. New York will always have my heart. I lived in New York for about 7 months, and yeah, that's probably if I wrote a book about my life, New York would get its own chapter for sure. I had always been able to sort of make friends wherever I went. Like I learned that was always a big sort of hurdle for me moving places. Was like, man, like I have these friends here, I have this community here. I'm afraid that if I go somewhere else I won't have that. But moving from Indiana to Arizona, I was able to find a core group of people to sort of build my found family, and then that's what made leaving Arizona so hard to move to New York. And I did that 3 years after I had been here. I had only been here for 3 years before I moved to New York, so it's not like I had
was
been
it
here.
only 3?
Yeah,
Wow.
I moved to New York in 2014, beginning of 2014. So actually only 2, because I came here at the end of 2011. So I was here for 2012 and 2013, basically, and then I left very
Crazy to
early in
think about.
2014. Yeah. But yeah, I moved to New York, and I was worried that I wasn't going to find my place, my tribe. But I did. I found them. I have some lifelong friends that I still talk to, not as often as I would like, but I found some friends. We became very close very quickly. And that's what really made me believe that, hey, you don't really have that shouldn't, if that's what's stopping you from moving away from somewhere that you're comfortable, you will find your tribe. You will find your people wherever you go. Like, don't let that be a
reason
door.
to hold
Like,
you
back.
do it. If that's what you're worried about, you will find people. So I love New York. I like I said multiple times, I'm a city boy. So I love being around people and buildings and life. I love just being around, like the energy is, and again, I'm being very cliche during the segment, but the energy that New York has, like you just feel like you're a part of it. Like you just feel like you're a part of the world. Like you feel like you're somewhere where things are happening. It's crazy thing to describe, but
Fast too, man. Cars, cars everywhere.
Yeah.
People moving, walking, people having conversations. It is a experience for sure to be in New York.
And I love it. I know that might be a turnoff to a lot of people. Matt, you went there, you visited there.
I did.
You liked it, but you didn't necessarily love it, right?
Yeah.
Like in terms of your experience there.
I think New York kind of made me realize I am a suburbs boy.
Just a small town boy.
I'm a small town boy, because it's like I did love how convenient everything was. Like you walk outside of the hotel.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I want to get good food. All right, there's 20 pizza stands. There's a hot dog stand to my left. Someone's selling falafels down over there.
And this is 4 a.m. It's literally the city that never sleeps. Yeah.
And I respected that. But then there was a level of where, like, I'm walking, and because so many people are coming and going, I'm
You're
a big
burly
guy. Yeah. So it's like I already don't like taking up a lot of space. So I'm like crunching my shoulders to be like, oh god, I got to get through this like spot. I'm so sorry. And then I say also, when I walk past people, I say, oh, excuse me. Motherfuckers bump into me and just fucking go right on through, and I'm like, all right, asshole. And it's like, but that's unfortunately that's me from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, oh man, you're right in front of this aisle that I need to get into. Oh, excuse me. Oh, so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But New
And
York,
New York
how
time.
fucking dare
yeah.
you be in my way? How
New
dare
Yorkers
you?
value their time more than anything else. It's like if
respect
if you're in the way, like get in, get what you need, and get out. We don't have time for you to sit here and browse. Like you've been standing in line for 10 minutes, and then you get to the front of the line and you don't know what you want.
See, I get that. I
like-
definitely get that.
Yeah, it's like time is more valuable than anything to New Yorkers, and if you do something to impede on that time,
They'll let you know.
you'll have a bad time. But I will say that New Yorkers get a bad rap when it comes to just being, because people think New Yorkers are rude and mean.
No.
I don't think it's that. I think they're impatient.
Yeah.
And I think that they have very low tolerance for tourists. They have a very low tolerance for people, again, impeding on their time. But
Yeah.
the first time I went to New York was back in 2011. Me and my friend Mustafa went there for the premiere of the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, the American premiere in New York. Big Harry Potter nerd, I guess I'm outing myself right now, but so we went there for the red carpet premiere, and we got lost literally within the first 5 minutes. We didn't know where we were. This was a time before smartphones were as popular as they are now, so I don't think either of us had a smartphone, and we couldn't just Google like how to get to the hotel, but a very nice gentleman literally who was on the subway, we were like freaking out. He turned to us and was like, yo, do you guys need help to find where you're going? We're like, yes, please. And he literally not only did he just tell us which trains to get onto, like tell us where to go, he went with us.
Dude.
Took like an hour out of his day to tell us where to go. He transferred trains with us, got us to where we need to go, and jumped back on his train and went about his
I want to
day.
be sad you have to kill you. He's like, man, maybe I can see him.
No. And that's what I experienced too. But I don't think, in the sense of it, like you said, they have a low tolerance. I think they have high expectations for individuals, right? Like, if you're going to be here, if you're going to be involved with this, like, you better know what you're doing or learn quick.
Yeah, I think New Yorkers' patience, they have less patience for New Yorkers who are, breaking the rules than they do for tourists.
Yeah.
I think if you're a tourist, like we were clearly tourists, me
Yeah.
and my buddy, 17-year-old kids, lost on a train, versus
gonna
someone who looks like they're from New York, standing in line and not knowing what they want. Then you'll get roasted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, I think, you do have a little more patience for tourists because you grow up with tourists. Like everybody goes to New York, especially in Manhattan. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I just remember my mom and I got lost on the train system as well.
Yeah.
And I went to the people in the booth thinking that, like, again, hey, you're here, you're a worker here, you're someone I can ask a question to. And I remember asking them, like, hey, how do we get to Staten Island? I was like, because where we were at. And they're like, okay, so you're going to take the D train to the E train, then you'll transfer to the 1 train. Then from there, you'll get to the F train. And I'm like, can you write this down? No. I was like, fuck, dude. And we followed the train system for like 2 hours, my mom and I. We did not get to Staten Island.
Oh, man.
We I don't know. We probably went on the Z train at
How
some
come you
goddamn
guys,
point.
not to get too off topic, but why not just pull out your phone? I'm sure there's got to be an app that tells you.
So there is. I had no service underground.
Oh.
And then also I started dying being underground. That was hot and smelled terrible.
New York in the summer is rough. New York in the winter is rough. It's extremes of both winter and summer.
And I got blasted by the under air walking by
It does have a stench to it.
like I was walking on top of like one of the grade areas and just the wind of a train passed up.
Yeah.
I think I got knocked out by Prime Mike Tyson. Bam. I was like, yep, get me out of here.
You do get used to it. That's one of the things. Like I was only there for 7 months, but it's like a crash course when you're there for. And I was there alone. Like I wasn't. I didn't.
you had
move.
to learn.
Yeah, so it was like figure it out or get fucked. So yeah, it was. But I loved every minute of that experience. Everything's overpriced, everything's loud, and I loved every minute of it. It was just a great experience, and I would love to move back to New York and live there and raise my family there. But again, it's expensive, so I don't think it's gonna happen. And I'm not the type of person who wants to live there, but live outside the city, and then because I think it's like if you're gonna live in New York, live in New York, But hey, maybe I'll win the lottery. But number one, last and very much not least is New Orleans, the Big Easy. I think I've visited New Orleans the most out of any other city that I've been to in my life, and it's just incredible, man. It's like being in a different country without being in a different country. It's a whole. They have their own culture. They have their own language, basically. The food is just
To die
incredible.
for.
And there's just like, you talk about like a sense of community. Obviously, with the tragedies of like Katrina that happened there, I think that just helped make the city, the the bonds of people from New Orleans just stronger. And you just feel it. Just again, it's an energy thing, but you feel just like you're a part of a community when you're there, and it's awesome. I would definitely that would be top of my list in terms of places that I would want to live. Again, very expensive, and also the whole hurricane thing is like it's built basically in a bowl. They're below sea level, so it's like you're kind of asking for it. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna go out here and invest a bunch of money in a property that's probably gonna get washed away at some point. But if it wasn't for that, then yeah, that would definitely be high up on the list of places where I would want to put my roots, to start my family, not start my family. I started my family in Arizona, to uproot my roots in Arizona and drop them off in New Orleans and plant them over there. Replant my roots. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great city. It's a beautiful city. And I would go yearly if I could. I've been there for multiple different things. We went for Mardi Gras in our friend group here. I've been there for the jazz festival. I went in high school. We went not right after, a couple of years after Katrina to help with the relief and the cleanup. So yeah, I've been there several different times. I've loved it every single time, and I wish I could go back more. But
what was your favorite food from New Orleans?
Oh man, like how do you even choose? I'm a as gross as it sounds, the crawfish are awesome. Any seafood really, like give me a catfish po' boy, give me shrimp and grits, give me anything, any type of seafood out there is definitely gonna be my favorite.
And then I did have a question from New York. Since you lived there, like, was there a specific location or place that you like just absolutely, if you had to go to New York, you had to check out, like, where would that be for you?
So for me personally, and this wouldn't be a recommendation for the like general public, but I did find a watering hole, if you will. I found a bar called Professor Tom's out there, and I went there actually. They did Game of Thrones screenings every Sunday. So I would go there and they would do Game of Thrones like premieres.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I became a fixture, and it was one of those things where I would walk in and, I knew a few of the bartenders. I would just sit down and chill. Once I made my friends out there, I took my friends there. That became like one of our regular spots. One of the bartenders there, Wes, who passed away a few years ago, actually, tragically. Very young guy. He would, I guess I can say this now, but he would give me free drinks. Like, I would literally sit at the bar and he would just literally refill my bar glass. So, like, where we were just sitting there, like, chilling and talking.
See, but that's the community.
Yeah, that's the community thing. It was like, it was such a cool experience, and again, even in a big city like New York, you can find that small town vibe.
Yeah.
Even with my friends, again, not you two, who from Arizona, who came to visit me when I lived there.
You're gonna hold us to that. Now we're gonna have to take a trip to New York. You know that, right?
The three of us.
That would be great. I took them to the bar, and they were, it was cool to sort of show them around, what had become like a home for me. So yeah, and that was in the East Village. So lots of cool places like that. The pizza is as good as they make it seem in movies. Just the convenience of everything too. Like Matt said, like you can just go anywhere at any time and get anything. Like nothing closes. Like everything's open. It's just an awesome city.
Nice.
Lights are always on.
Lights are always on.
It's a great time.
Okay, so that's my top 5. Let's close it out with Matt over there. What you got for us, man?
Okay, so my top 5, number 5 is San Diego, California as well.
Okay.
My number 4 was Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My number 3 is New York. My number 2 is New Orleans as well. And then my number 1, I like I had to say London.
Okay.
I had to put that. I had to put
Wow.
London there.
London
Yeah.
town.
London
Okay.
over.
All right.
Yeah, I mean San Diego, California. For me, I have family out there. I had an uncle who lived like 20, 30 minutes away from California Adventures in
Oh, wow.
Disneyland.
Okay.
Disneyland, so we would stay with them a lot, and that was a lot of my memories, like being at his house as a little kid. But then also all the trips that we did as friends out to California or out to San Diego. I just had a really great time. I like visiting the cities. I do not like staying in them for long times, but I like the memories that I had of like being a kid, having easy access to go to California Adventures and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Las Vegas. When I was 21, my mom was the first one that took me to Las Vegas, which was a great trip because I got to play blackjack with the brother from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay. Yeah.
He sat at the table, and I was like starstruck because I was like, "Oh my god!" But I was like, "Oh, this is super super cool." We're just playing blackjack at the MGM Grand.
Nice.
And then again, it's one of that probably is like we did 2 major trips as a giant group, and that one was probably my favorite because as the giant group, it was one of my favorites because we had such a great time in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was like at least 12 of us.
Yeah, it'd take me a long time
Yeah.
to count through that. But yeah, there was quite a few.
It was quite a few.
Yeah.
We had great times. Burnt all my money on the second day, the morning of the second day of our 5-day trip. But I wouldn't change it.
I was gonna say the fact that you can consider it a great trip and you
burning
burned all
all
your
my
money.
money. Yeah. Oy, what a time.
Yeah.
And then New York, my number 3. Again, another really fun trip that I took with my mom for her birthday. We were there in September. And I think, again, like I like the city. It is a lot of fun. And the access to food is so crazy because like it's funny because London says that they're a melting pot. They have got nothing on New York. Let me tell you, the amount, how easy it is to find Chinatown, Little Russia, just from going through, not really like just 4 blocks.
Yeah.
But what it feels like is not that far. And you're like, oh yeah, no, holy crap. This is the Chinatown. This is Little Russia.
Yeah.
And all just the amount of foods, the smells, some really bad, some really good, like the different types of foods being cooked in the areas. Awesome. Again, I'm a really big foodie, so New York was great in that regard because it was just such a fun experience.
Nice.
And then my number 2, New Orleans. I mean, that was us with our buddy Sesmus, who's not here. Love you, buddy. You're wish you were here.
Where is he? Just so that it doesn't sound like you've
Oh,
put him
yeah.
off
Oh
somewhere.
yeah.
No, he's just not here. He's got
just not here,
he's
yeah.
got a little baby
He's
boy
at home,
Elijah.
yeah.
Exactly.
He's taking care of being a good daddy. But New Orleans, I mean, that the first thing we did the last 3 days of Mardi Gras. And, I think like when you're a kid and you're seeing Mardi Gras, you're like, oh, I gotta go. But to actually be able to experience it and the food, the drinking, it led to a great amount of experiences.
Yeah.
Dude, just the music. I'm a humongous jazz fan. And I loved like when we went to, I think it was like the day that it was after Fat Tuesday. So we were just chilling out in New Orleans and we went to the French Quarter and we just could hear the big brass bands playing out in front of the museums. And I just was so enthralled. I love music.
Yeah.
So that really was like a feast of the years for me.
Nice.
And then London. I mean, finally getting out of the country, having my passport, realizing that even though I speak English, I do not speak the Queen's English, and people looking at me, what are you saying? I'm like, I don't think I'm speaking difficult here, man. Where do I go to get here? Oh, fuck me. Which again, really fun time though. Food wise, not the hottest. But that's also, I do not blame London. I blame my cousins because they wanted to go to McDonald's. The food, like how much they wanted to dabble, not high. not high at all.
Well,
But
that's the joke about London anyway, though, right? Like they don't have.
they don't have
Seasoning.
spices.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it's
Spices,
just
yeah.
even though like some of the best restaurants in the world are in London,
They're French.
they're all like other countries' cuisines.
Yep.
Like no one's cooking British food.
Which is crazy because like when I got to London and I got a fish and chips because you're there. Why
Sure,
not?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, do you guys have like Tabasco sauce or like tapatio, some like hot sauce? And they're like, we have curry, and I was like, absolutely not. That's not what I asked for. Do you have hot sauce?
Yeah.
And they're like, we have curry. I was like, oh, I am in for a terrible time. So I loved London. Couldn't live there though because I love spicy food. I
Gotcha.
I couldn't go without.
Import your own hot sauce.
Yeah, right. Bring it with me.
Start a craze out there. You know that might be a business opportunity.
Which is crazy because wasn't there a In-N-Out that opened up in London for like an hour and it was like sold out?
Was there?
I remember. It might have been like a story a long time ago, but
Okay.
I vaguely remember an In-N-Out opening somewhere for just a little bit, and they were like wall to wall full.
Did you have a? I think we've talked about this, but again, for the sake of the podcast, did you get a full English while you were there? Full English breakfast?
No,
No?
I did not because my aunt had really great planning out for the trip for the day, so every day we were doing something.
Yeah.
But like food was, if we're hungry, and I'm like, I want to eat breakfast.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be an if we're hungry type thing. It
it's
should be
where.
like,
It's like,
yeah, let's
yo,
explore
stop.
the food.
But that was on me though, because I was like, hey, you know what? I am here. I want to do everything. We did a bunch of tours. I got to do a Jack the Ripper tour. So it like was a walking tour. So it took us to where were not exactly where where a lot of the victims were found, but like areas that were like, yes, this is where they were found, but now it's like a building is here, or now it's a park.
Got you.
But yeah, there was a lot of cool things that we did that like, I mean, if it would have been me by myself, I would have gotten fatter because I would have just been eating food all day.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great time. And then we got to go to the Universal Studios. It's like, it's where they have the set stuff for Harry Potter. And that was just such a cool experience as well.
Yeah.
So London was great for experiences. Food sucked, but that's,
Great for experiences, and also it sounds like what it meant, because you obviously that's getting your passport's a big deal. So now
Yeah.
it opens the door to
I'm trying to
international travel.
I'm trying to get a group together now to do Japan because that's my big go-to. I think Japan and Ireland are the next two I really want to hit.
Just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah.
If you can. I think what I've learned, because I've always been sort of the planner of our group, or I was back when we were traveling a lot.
Yes.
If you can just get everything together, like, and tell people a price, you're more likely to get people on board instead of the hypotheticals. Just say, hey,
Yeah,
I've looked it up. The hotel is going to be this much. The airfare is going to be this much, and then whatever you need to bring for food and activities.
Yeah.
If you can give people a number, then I think they're more likely to say either I'm down for that, or nah, it's just not the right time.
Yeah, and that just lets me know, okay, well, I gotta do this by myself then.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people are less likely to be interested in hypotheticals than they are into someone who's actually like playing stuff out. So
Yeah.
that would just be my advice. I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, but like, yeah, just map it out. Don't give them an option. Just, hey, it's gonna be $2,000.
And I gotta hit Japan before my back gives out. I mean, I'm 33 now, and I'm just saying, like, I don't want to get 45 and I'm like walking around Japan with a cane. Not yet.
45?
Hey, you never know, man.
Come on, 5.
I
We're
got
just
a bad
getting
back.
started, baby.
So
All right.
yeah, those are my 5.
That's top 5, guys.